Are you confused about being gluten-free? Well, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. If you are, I'm here to give you answers. And if you're gluten-free or wannabe, I'm here to give you recipes. No matter which category you fall into, join me as I celebrate National Gluten-Free Day here on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Good morning, taste buds, and welcome to SoFlo Taste here in the Goya kitchen at J World in Coconut Creek. Over 3 million people in this country have gone gluten-free, or GF. That number has tripled in the past 20 years, and I'm one of them. That's made me try to find ways of making some of my favorite recipes into gluten-free ones. So, in honor of GF Day on January 13th, I thought it would be fun to show you what I've learned in case you too are thinking about limiting your gluten intake. So let's get cooking. The first thing I wanted to teach you was a tortilla crusted chicken breast. I've taken tortilla chips, my favorite ones, threw them into a bag with a closure, and just basically pound away. All right, so I'm gonna take this bag of chips, now crumbles, just put them into one of these glass containers so that we can do some dipping. So I have beautiful chicken breasts. These are skinless, boneless, thanks to Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Go to Delaware.com to look these guys up. They are the best in the business, and you'll want to buy your chicken from them because they do it best. I haven't done anything to them. I haven't opened them up or butterflied or pounded or anything because I want them to be nice and juicy. This is rice flour that I'm using. You can also just use all-purpose gluten-free flour. There's a lot of great ones out there. So I'm gonna add some ground garlic, onion, ancho powder. If you can't find ancho powder, then just use your favorite smoked chili powders. A little bit of paprika, and finally a little bit of cumin. I'm gonna mix that up, and I figured I'd put that in the gluten-free flour rather than in the corn flake because I don't want them burning when they go in the oven. And we're not going to saute these, which you can, by the way. You can saute or fry these if you wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and oven bake them. First, season these with a little bit of salt and pepper just so that the chicken itself is starting out with a little flavor. We're going to dredge first in our seasoned flour, then in our egg wash. It's really just a dusting. You can even go straight into egg and then the cornflake if you wanted to, if you don't want to deal with a gluten-free flour. But I always have rice flour around. It's actually become one of my favorites. All right, so go ahead and add that to the flake. And if you like cornflakes better than tortillas, you can find yourself, I'm sure that there's a lot of gluten-free cornflake cereals out there. Just make sure that there's no sugar in it because that would be very sweet. Oh, maybe you like that. I don't know. So I'm going to take the tortillas and just kind of press them in to the chicken. And this is going to have a lovely texture. And to serve this, by the way, we've got some beans heating up as well as some pico de gallo that I think is going to go beautifully with this recipe. So we've got a piece of parchment paper down, and we've sprayed that with a little bit of cooking spray. And we're not going to go too high on this because we don't want the flakes to burn before the chicken cooks. So I'm going to cook that on about anywhere from 300 to 325, but I don't want to go any higher than that. All right, we're going to get these in the oven, cook them up, get them nice and crispy, and we'll come back and put all that together to make a southwestern treat, and then of course jump into all my other ideas. So come right back, but before you go, we just want to thank all of you who entered Goya's Seasonings Greetings gift card giveaway on local10.com. The lucky winner is Don Ironimo from Weston. Congratulations, Don. I hope everyone had a good time, but of course you did, because if it's Goya, it has to be good. Now come right back.
Come back to the Goya Kitchen at J.A. World, Michelle, and the food. This is SoFlo Taste.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. So what is gluten anyway, and why have some of us tried to remove or replace it in our diets? Well, gluten is a protein present in cereal, grains, especially wheat. It gives dough its elastic properties and makes it delicious. But for some people, gluten can trigger anything from headaches to stomach distress. And that's why I'm giving you these recipes today. So let's get back to them. I really wanted to make something that's just like luscious. So we're gonna stuff some poblanos with some dirty shrimpy rice. Got some oil in the pan. I'm gonna throw a little bit of butter in there too. People that are gluten-free, I don't think we really miss all of the richness of foods, but I think that those that aren't gluten-free think that we do. So this is why I'm giving you this recipe, because you won't miss a thing. Once the butter pretty much just melts, we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of onion, some little tiny diced red pepper, some minced garlic, and let's just get this a little bit soft before we move on. For flavoring, I cannot cook without Old Bay when I'm cooking shrimp. I love Zatarain's or Old Bay, either one. The spice mixture with shrimp to me just makes me think of Louisiana. So I always seem to use it. It's a little bit of a crutch for me. So once these just start getting soft, I'm gonna go ahead and add that Old Bay. It's a little bit of red crushed chili flake. I already have some cooked white rice right here, which I'll fold into all this in just a couple minutes. So as far as poblanos go, these were whole beautiful poblanos that we rubbed with a little bit of oil, and we put them into a 400 to 425 degree oven. And what happens is the top part of the peel, the skin, starts to kind of bubble and they become a darker, roastier color. Most of these are peeled, but I left the peel on to show you how easily you can peel this off. The best way to do it is after you roast the peppers, put them in a little paper bag or just wrap them up in foil so that they steam. Once they do that and they steam, this peels just right off and you get these beautiful roast poblanos. So I like to take the seeds out because sometimes poblanos can be rather fiery, but sometimes not, so it's up to the pepper. But I do like to take the seeds out. All right, so all this is getting really nice and soft. I can just tell because it's becoming translucent. So the last few things I'm gonna add, a heavy pinch of salt, some black pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add some shrimp. I got these shrimp at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. These are 1620 size and we cut them down into 3 pieces. I hope you enjoyed some Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market over the holidays. And if you made a New Year's resolution to eat healthier, check out their chicken, seafood, and other heart-healthy ideas. Delaware is at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. Go to DelawareChicken.com or call them at 954-983-6831 and place an order with the good folks over there. Make sure you tell them Chef Michelle sent you, and they'll be even more kind if possible than they already are. All right, we don't want to hammer these shrimp and cook them too much. We just want them to be just cooked through because we are going to fill the poblanos with them and they will heat through even more. So we're going to cook them through but not overcook them. I'm going to add a little bit of sliced scallion, chopped up parsley. I always use Italian parsley. It's what I like. The last 2 things I wanted to add into this, as the shrimp are almost just fully cooked, just a little bit of beer. This will evaporate all the alcohol, so just a tiny little bit. I wouldn't go too dark of a beer because it will cover up that beautiful freshness of the shrimp. I'm also going to add just a couple shots of hot sauce. Up to you what kind of hot sauce you want to use. Okay, this is done. I'm going to shut it off. Let's get a big bowl. I'm going to take this mixture and pour it right into the bowl. Now, I don't want it to be more rice than shrimp. I want a lot more shrimp than rice. Go ahead and mix that all together. Now, I cooled my rice before I did this so that it didn't overcook. The last thing I'm going to add, and it's up to you if you want to do this or not, I'm going to add cheese because I want this to just melt all over the place. So this is just some simple jack cheese grated. You can use cheddar if you want to, really up to you. So this really binds the whole thing together. So let's just make a couple of these. So take the poblano very delicately and just start filling it with as much of this delicious filling as you could get in there. We really want this beautiful pepper overfilled. Put it onto a smaller sheet. I basically just take the pepper and just keep the seam upwards, just like so. And that's how we're gonna bake it. And obviously, all that good cheese is gonna melt right in there. Let's do one more. And when you come back, hopefully this will all be baked through and we can finish it off together. And just so you know, I have a little surprise dish when you come back as well. This one, I never thought I could make gluten-free. So come right back so I can give you some more GF recipes. But before you go, be sure to scan this QRC. You'll be taken automatically to the SoFlo Shows page. It's an easy way for taste buddies to stay in touch. Now come right back. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste as we celebrate National Gluten-Free Day, January 13th. As I always am, I'm here at the wonderful JA World in Coconut Creek, a great place dedicated to our kids. But on Saturday, January 29th, this place will become uncorked, and there's still time to get in on it. JA World's Uncorked is an Epicurean experience hosted by the JA Circle of Wise Women, and they are wise, featuring some of South Florida's best restaurants, highlighting their creations paired with wines, spirits, and special cocktails. Sample foods from over 35 restaurants and beverage partners, and of course, there will be live dance music, raffles, a silent auction, and more. So again, that's JA World's Uncorked, Saturday 29th of January from 6:30 to 10:30 here in Coconut Creek. For tickets and more information, visit jasouthflorida.org/JA World Uncorked. Now back to SoFlo Taste. The peppers are done. The cheese is gooey and delicious. I'm just going to top it with a little bit of crema mexicana, which is kind of like sour cream but a little looser, and some pomegranates to make it look just a little more authentic, even though it's not authentic at all. Isn't that gorgeous? And then let's take that chicken out of the oven. It's funny, I can always tell that it's ready when it's kind of come together and gotten a little taller. And for this, I have some pico de gallo and some black beans. Now, I did make them Cuban style instead of Mexican style because that's what I know to do best. Okay, so there's that. And look how crunchy they are and still juicy and delicious, not overcooked. Let's talk about our last recipe real quick. I'm gonna take the potatoes out of the oven because we're gonna make gluten-free gnocchi. You're gonna need some rice flour, which we already talked about. You can get it in a lot of Asian markets, but you also need sweet rice flour. These potatoes are russets. They've been either a fork or a knife. You just kind of make some little tiny cuts into it and cook it dry as it is. Don't spray anything down. And you'll cook that in a very hot oven, about 425, until they're nice and tender. Usually takes about an hour. This is a potato ricer, and all you're gonna do is basically press all of the flesh from the inside of the potato into the ricer. Try not to get any skin or dark. I have little dark marks on this one potato. Try not to get any of those in there as well, because you want this to be pristine. Do this again. Now, if you want, you can have some fun and make maybe some potato skins for the kids while you make the gnocchi. If you don't have a potato ricer at home, you can still make the gnocchi, but it might be a little lumpy. So the potato ricer is always a great thing to have. This is kind of a larger one. You can get a smaller one. There's the single-handled one that works really well as well. All right, we'll pass these. It's called passing them through. So go around the opposite direction to make sure that all of the potatoes are getting pressed through the ricer. So once that's done, you'll want to add a couple of eggs and salt, and go ahead and mix that in until it's really completely comes together and looks rather homogeneous, like so. All right, then we're going to be a little more delicate. We're going to add in, it's almost 2-to-1 parts of rice flour, and I'm only going to add about 3/4 of that, and all of the sweet rice flour. And let's go ahead and start folding in until it really feels like it comes together in a dough. And I do this, I start out in a bowl, and then we move on to the table. Because a lot of with gnocchi is feel, and you're going to want to work it with your hands. All right, so now that this is just starting to come together, I'm going to turn this over onto the table. All right, so you're going to want to bring the dough together, and don't work it too much, but we definitely need it to all come together in a nice disc, which it's just starting to do. We don't want to work it too much, but we do need it to come together and form a dough. And you'll notice that with the rice flours, you have a much lighter dough than you would with regular flour or even durum. So there you have it. So this forms a dough. I'm going to get rid of all these little scrappies. A bench knife is great for this, by the way. And then what you do is you take a little piece of that, and we're going to bring this one little piece together. It's up to you how big you want your gnocchi to be. Be very delicate. Don't push too hard. You don't want to, press into it. You always want the gnocchi to be as evenly rolled as possible. And then you take your bench scraper, and then I cut off both ends, and then you turn them into little rounds. Now, my mom used to use a fork to roll them off and make a beautiful design out of them, but I personally love them like this. So this goes into not too heavily boiling water. Once they float, you remove them, and this is what they look like. We have these gorgeous fat gnocchi, all gluten-free and all ready to be consumed. Now, we toss this in oil, we throw it into the fridge, and this wrapped up will last you 3 to 4 days. You can every day try another sauce, see what the kids love. Come right back, we're gonna make some tomato sauce and taste our GF gnocchi. Come right back.
Hi, I'm design expert Elena Capra. Michelle will be right back. And don't forget, stay tuned for another episode of SoFlo Home Project following SoFlo Taste.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste, and of course our gluten-free show. So excited to make gnocchi with you guys. So this is how they come out. I've already showed you that part. I've taken some tomato sauce and heated it up with a touch of butter and olive oil. Let's see how many will fit comfortably in this pan. And then all you're going to want to do is heat them up in your favorite sauces. So my son doesn't like pasta with tomato sauce, but for some reason he loves gnocchi with tomato sauce. Go figure. So you want these to really heat through, because the more the sauce soaks into the gnocchi, the softer and more delicate they actually become. So let's go ahead and put some of these on a serving dish. In Argentina, for luck, we actually make gnocchi and put $1 under the plate on the 29th of every month for good fortune. Okay, so it hasn't happened yet, but I'm still working on it. All right. Let's clean that up a little bit and serve it with some grated Reggiano, because we have to, and it's delicious. And there you have it. Well, thank you, Taste Buds, for watching today. I loved sharing my gluten-free recipes with you. I hope I've given you some great recipes that may be gluten-free but are still good food. Remember, GF equals good food. Next week, I'll be giving you recipes that are SoFlo's very own. I'll be cooking with the harvest of South Florida. In my spotlight will be our famous SoFlo tomatoes and strawberries. Of course, I'm not putting them in the same recipe. I could, but I'm not. But each will have a starring role. So be here for the food and the fun on the next SoFlo Taste. Now, let's welcome back to Saturday mornings Miss Elena Capra. Hey Elena, what's up on the next SoFlo Home Project?
Hi, Michelle. So it's great to see you. Great to be back on Saturdays. Today we're going to be talking about achieving balance in your home through the decor. Coming up on SoFlo Home Project, we take a look at the basic principles of Feng Shui and how you can create balance and good energy in your own homes by applying some of these.
Thanks, Elena. It's great to have you following SoFlo Taste on Saturday mornings. Again, we missed you. So my Taste Buds, please be smart, be safe, and be vaccinated. And stay where you are for SoFlo Home Project and Elena. I'll see you next week. Mwah. Goodbye and good taste. GF stands for good food.